Florida State falls 20-13 to Stanford. This is their 9th straight conference loss in ACC play. It's time to bring Deion Sanders home. That's my biggest takeaway from this game. This is my only takeaway from this game. Mike Norvell, it doesn't matter how big his buyout is, rather if it's $59 million, $70 million. We just saw James Franklin get fired, and Penn State paid the second highest buyout in the history of college football to do so. Florida State was suing the ACC a few months ago because they wanted out of the conference. They felt like being in the ACC was destroying their brand. It was ruining their reputation as a blue blood program. So if Florida State is willing to sue the ACC to get out the conference because they feel like their reputation is being destroyed, then they should have no problem paying whatever it costs to get rid of Mike Norvell. And Florida State, if you fire Mike Norvell, who's going to be his obvious replacement? Of course, everybody would love to get James Franklin down there in Tallahassee. Unfortunately, if you buy out Mike Norvell, you probably won't have the money necessary to pay James Franklin and to also pay for a new staff. Deion Sanders, however, has a $10 to $12 million buyout. So you can fire Mike Norvell, hire Deion Sanders, and have a cheaper transition as far as the coaching turnover. And whatever Florida State did to piss Deion Sanders off to the point where he now has disassociated himself from FSU, they need to make amends. FSU needs to get on their knees, kiss Deion Sanders 8 toes, and apologize to whatever made him stop repping Florida State. Florida State needs Deion Sanders. They need some no blood. They need somebody who knows what it means to be a Florida State Seminole, to put on that garden and gold. Because obviously for Mike Norvell, losing to Stanford and Pitt is not hitting him hard enough to where we're not seeing this team improve. We're not seeing any adjustments being made. We keep seeing the same Florida State team go out there and get their butts kicked by the weakest Power 4 conference in college football. There is no better replacement for Mike Norvell than Deion Sanders. It's their only replacement. Deion Sanders is using Colorado as a stepping stone. Let's be honest about it. Are you willing to bet your lifetime savings that Deion Sanders is going to retire as Colorado's head coach? I'm not. I strongly doubt that Deion Sanders would turn down this FSU job if it comes available and he's offered it. Deion will never win a national championship at Colorado. I know a bunch of you Deion Sanders supporters and Colorado fans have the hype dream that he will, but let's just be realistic about it. Colorado doesn't have the money nor the resources to keep up with Texas Tech, who just dropped $28 million on this year's team. Oregon, Ohio State, Texas. So even if Colorado gets to the playoffs, they're not going to go that far because the teams they will be going up against will just be vastly more talented due to the amount of money that they were able to pour into their teams. Deion Sanders going to Florida State, though, gives him an opportunity to play in big games. They don't call him prime time for nothing. You can't have the name prime time and not want to play in some of the biggest games in college football. We could see Deion Sanders coaching against Lane Kiffin next year. If Billy Napier does indeed get fired, then they replace him with Lane Kiffin. Could you imagine the ratings? Could you imagine the publicity around a FSU versus Florida game featuring Deion Sanders and Lane Kiffin on the sidelines as coaches? If Florida State isn't willing to apologize to Deion Sanders for whatever they did, I'm going to do it for him. Deion Sanders, on the behalf of Florida State University, I apologize for whatever we did to offend you to where you now don't even claim this school anymore. You made your name. You became a household name playing for the Florida State Seminoles. We need you in Tallahassee. It's a train wreck right now. 9 straight ACC losses. Are you kidding me? This is the worst Power 4 conference in all of football, and Florida State is the worst in it. Deion Sanders, Florida State needs you to save this program. You turned around Jackson State. You turned around Colorado. Now it's time for you to take your Louis luggage and bring it on down to Tallahassee and save the Florida State Seminoles next. You said it yourself after Georgia Tech beat you in week 1. There's no better feeling than getting a big win at the school that you played for your alma mater. You know that you want to coach the Florida State Seminoles, man. You know deep down that no blood still runs deep. And listen, Deion Sanders can't do any worse than what Willie Taggart and Mike Norvell have done these last couple of years. Florida State went from being a premier program in college football to being the laughingstock of the ACC. You just lost to Stanford after losing to Pitt, who had a true freshman quarterback. And I said it last week, and I'm going to say it again. Who can Florida State beat? Realistically, who can you look at FSU schedule right now and say, yeah, Florida State is guaranteed to beat them? Nobody. Mark Norvell has to go. James Franklin was fired after he was 1 game shy of making it to the national championship. So if James Franklin gets paid $50 million to leave, Mark Norvell should be paid whatever it costs to get the hell out of Tallahassee. He's an embarrassment to Florida State football. He's an embarrassment to the university. It's disgraceful to lose in the fashion that Florida State did last night. Yes, they got robbed of a touchdown. The game should have went to overtime, but Florida State should have never been in that position to begin with. And I'm tired of hearing the same old crap from Mike Norvell. We got to be better as coaches. This is on us. You keep saying the same crap, and yet the team still sucks every week. It's time to go. It's time to pack your bags and get out of Doak Campbell, get out of Tallahassee. You have to go. If Penn State just paid $50 million to buy out James Franklin, FSU should pay whatever it costs, $59 million, $100 million, to get Mike Norvell the hell away from Florida State. Every game that Mike Norvell coaches, he embarrasses this football program furthermore. FSU has everything that Deion Sanders needs to revive this program. They have more NIL money than what Colorado has. They're in a prime location for Deion Sanders to dominate recruiting. Could you imagine how crazy FSU recruiting will be with Deion Sanders? Deion has already shown that he can recruit blue chip talent. Jordan Seaton, Juju Lewis, Travis Hunter. The only thing stopping Deion Sanders from being an elite recruiter at Colorado is the fact that it's in Boulder. I had a homie that transferred to Colorado Deion Sanders' first year, and he said there literally is nothing to do in Boulder. The only thing there is to watch Colorado play with Deion being the head coach. It's a nice city, but there isn't really much going on other than playing for Deion Sanders there. It's easier to sell recruits to play for Florida State with Deion there, especially with him already having good pipelines in the state of Florida. And also, if you're worried about, what about the players that committed to play for him at Colorado? That's why we have the transfer portal. Marshall lost their head coach, and the entire team transferred and followed him to Southern Miss. The players that are currently on Colorado's roster are committed to Deion Sanders, not Colorado. So if Deion Sanders leads for FSU, Juju Lewis, Jordan Seaton, Amarion Miller, and all of the other good players on that team are coming with him. If you are a fan of Deion Sanders, you're going to be a fan of him rather he coaches at Colorado for the rest of his coaching career, or if he jumps ship for FSU. Most of you guys just support Deion Sanders. So you shouldn't be getting frustrated and getting bent out of shape, yelling on your keyboard about, oh, you don't know if Deion's going to leave Colorado or not. Deion already said he's not leaving. Do you not know how many coaches lie and say they're going to stay and end up leaving anyway? Why are you so emotionally attached to Colorado? Because of Deion Sanders. So if he leaves for FSU, you're going to watch. Why? Because of Deion Sanders. Now, if you're a diehard Colorado fan, it would suck to lose Deion. But Deion getting the Colorado job was always a stepping stone for something bigger. Just like Jackson State was. Jackson State was Deion's first opportunity to show that he can be a good head coach. And he took that opportunity and he turned it into getting an opportunity, getting a power forward job at Colorado. He's revived Colorado. He has now shown that he's a legitimate coach. He may not be a great coach, but he's a solid enough coach that it's worth Florida State taking a gamble on him. They need some no blood in there. They need somebody that has played for a national championship winning FSU team. Somebody that knows what it takes on the day-to-day to turn FSU into a contender. Something that Mike Norvell just simply doesn't know how to do because he's going about it the wrong way. At least Florida's players play hard for Billy Napier despite him about to get fired. Why? Because majority of the players on this Florida team, Billy Napier recruited out of high school. The majority of FSU's roster is a bunch of mercenaries that Mike Norvell got out of the transfer portal. That's why Florida plays with more heart under Billy Napier than FSU does under Mike Norvell. You never have to question how much heart Colorado's playing with under Deion Sanders. When have you ever seen Colorado's players throwing the towel on Deion? No matter how much they may be down by, they still continue to fight. And this is with Deion mostly constructing his program via the transfer portal. Deion Sanders would just be too perfect of a fit for Florida State not to give him a phone call when they fire Mike Norvell. They have to fire Mike Norvell. You are better off allowing Alabama to get Mike Norvell than you were allowing yourself to get fleeced by him. This is one of the worst coaching extensions in the history of college football. Mike Norvell got lucky that he won a few scratch-off tickets when he got in the portal and he landed Jordan Travis, Jared Verse, Brandon Fisk, Keon Coleman. The chances of finding players that good who have now become some of the best at their position in the NFL is the same chance that you have going in a corner store, buying $1 scratch-off ticket and winning that thing for the max prize. Florida State needs to bring Deion Sanders back home. You can't call yourself primetime and not want to be in the big primetime games that you could be coaching in if you're Deion Sanders. If you take this FSU job, you could be going up against Clemson, Miami, Florida. These are big primetime games that everybody's going to be watching. Everybody watches Colorado only due to Deion Sanders being there. So imagine the ratings that Deion would generate at FSU, a blue blood program that has tradition, that's rooted in pageantry. Bring Deion Sanders back home. Do whatever you got to do to make this thing happen. It's worth giving it a shot. Because more than likely, you won't be able to buy out Mike Norvell, then get James Franklin. Deion makes a lot of sense for FSU.